Okay, I'm going to start in three, two, one. Okay, so the first thing we must understand is that the people on which this program is directed for towards is children. And what do we know about children? Is that they barely understand anything about real life. So basically, these children, they lack the experience, they lack the mental capacity to understand what's going on should they be placed into this um, program. um if you imagine just a kid, and then the kid is just placed into this new environment, this new home, this new family, you know what they're gonna do? They're not dumb enough to actually they're not capable yet of understanding what's going on. They're just gonna see it as pointless suffering, as some sort of punishment that they don't even deserve. They don't have the mental capacity to understand what's going on, to understand what's the point of this program. They don't have the experience, and they don't have the real life experience beforehand that's required for them to fully understand the meaning of the program. Now, conversely, if this is their first experience, it's just gonna be even worse for them. It's just gonna be an leave a bitter taste in their mouths. They might even view their temporary family for this day. They might view their temporary family with disdain, because they've basically just been ripped away from the life they knew, from all the niceties and stuff, and now they're living in substandard substandard qualities. As a result of that, they might view even their temporary families with disdain as the reason for their suffering. And because of that, they might even dislike people below the poverty line as a consequence, which would defeat the entire purpose of the program. Now, other than the fact that they might not understand, and as a result of that, they might dislike the people below the poverty line, in this program, this whole experience for them in of itself, um, in my point of view, there's not much of anything to be learned. Some people say that suffering is the best teacher. However, suffering by itself cannot teach you anything. For these children, there's no guarantee that they're going to be paying attention, that they're going to be aware of the things that are happening around them, of their new environment. For example, if this program aims for them to communicate more with the temporary family and understand from their perspective, they're not gonna magically be able to want to hear them out, because um, again, they might still view this as pointless suffering, and they might be reluctant to listen to anything. They just, for example, want it to be over with. So, as a result of that, they might not even view the temporary family, the people below the poverty line, with empathy. Again, they just might view them with disdain for the experience that they heavily dislike, which they might view the family as the cause for. Now, imagine if you are indeed imagine if they are indeed spoiled from their previous family. They're not just gonna magically listen to anything. You know how, who doesn't know how spoiled children are? They just wanna go back. They just wanna it to be over with. They're just gonna be counting the days until it's done and they can go back to their old life. They're not gonna pay attention to their surroundings. They're not gonna communicate with the temporary family. They're not gonna be able to absorb the goal of the program. Now, another perspective that's also important is that this program in of itself requires the children to be physically away from their parents. Now, surely we can't just rip these children away from their families, regardless of their financial background. Um, Imagine if you were a parent of one of these children and your child had to be given to had to be taken away to do this program. You might, since you're not going to be physically there, you might be distrustful of this program because, of course, they're going to be in a new environment, which isn't guaranteed to be safe, especially for young children without their parents. um, Again, for it to work, they have to be physically away. They can't intervene, and as a result of that, why would these parents even consent for their children to be to take part in this program? Um, sure, these parents might spoil these children, but it doesn't mean that their children can get taken away. Even if these parents spoil their children, they're still concerned about their safety. And sometimes that safety can only be ensured by the parents being physically present and ensuring the safety of the children directly. So all in all, these children may not even understand what's going on. They might dislike the temporary family. They might not even learn anything because they're experienced, because they don't want to listen. They might just view this as some sort of punishment point that's pointless, and we can't rip away these children from their families. The parents will always be responsible for their children's safety, and no way to ensure their safety without them being present. As a result of that, I'm proud to be opposition.